And then Skyfox, when trying to find the pursuit, was up and over the 110. And now we found ourselves in the South Bay. As soon as we can get our Extreme Nav technology up, we will be able to give you a more precise location in terms of street. But as we're looking live at this, I'm feeling a little bit of relief, since we cover so many of these, that this is not, at this point, a high-speed pursuit. Most definitely not. And the driver seems to be just driving along without threatening too many of the other unsuspecting drivers. So that is good news. Okay, joining me on the line now is Kevin Takuma. Pardon me, Kevin. Kevin Takumi. He's often in Skyfox. Kevin, what do we know thus far about this pursuit?
Well, so far it came down the 110 freeway, then kind of came up the 405, got off at Crenshaw. Now it went around the South Bay Galleria. It's going westbound now on Artesia Boulevard, which is going to put it into like the edge of Lawndale and Redondo Beach. So it's heading west, headed for the beach area. CHP is staying in the pursuit. They're not handing it off to Redondo Beach PD at this point, but it's been slow going here. There's been a few red lights that have been blown. There has been some. They're going by. Looks like they're going through like right there where a crosswalk was. And kind of slowed down, but it hasn't been a high-speed pursuit throughout most of this. It's been fairly slow speeds like this, stopping for some and blowing through other lights as we go along here, but still remaining to be a slow-speed pursuit, but not stopping. Definitely not stopping for the CHP. They haven't yet. I don't think I've heard that they've yet authorized a pit maneuver, especially for a vehicle this large. But the speeds are staying down here. They do kind of have the opportunity to do a pit maneuver, but with a vehicle that large, it may easily lose control, and you can see there is still a lot of cross traffic coming back in other directions. So it looks like they're going to still follow this. I still haven't heard yet either on any spike strip ideas, but still going westbound on Artesia here, headed for the beach.
Okay, well, yeah, when we talk about how to bring these pursuits to an end, typically law enforcement either relies on the pit maneuver, which is the pursuit intervention technique, or spike strips. You bring up a good point about the size of the vehicle. A pit maneuver might make that a little bit difficult, or the size of the vehicle would make a pit maneuver a little more difficult. You know, we always jump on the air with these because this is a public safety issue, of course. So with that said, if you know anybody in the Redondo Beach, Lawndale area who might be driving along Artesia Boulevard right now, this pursuit is headed westbound toward the beach, please let them know, because although there aren't crazy driving antics at this point, we've often seen suspects get more agitated the longer pursuit goes on. So certainly, no matter what, this is a danger to the public, because law enforcement always assumes that whomever is behind the wheel is armed and dangerous. They always have to take that into consideration. You also brought up, Kevin, as you know, we're seeing more Friday traffic here on westbound Artesia. The idea that CHP is sticking with that and not handing it over to the local agency, is that normal protocol?
Well, it all just depends. You know, they may be trying to get, usually once it gets off of the freeways, they usually hand it off to the local agency, but it depends on if it's specifically that CHP wants this vehicle. Also, they may be still trying to get, since Redondo Beach is a little bit smaller of a city and a police force, getting them into position as this continues to move here makes it a little more difficult. So as they continue here on a straight path, they may be getting into position, but you know, resources within a smaller jurisdiction are a little bit harder to set up, get them into position for this pursuit as it moves through their city. So we just passed Aviation. We're going to be coming up on Miracosta High School soon. I don't think school is in session yet for them, but Artesia is about to kind of come up to a dead end here once it gets to Highway 1.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be interesting then to see which direction this pursuit suspect decides to go, because we are almost to the dead end. you know, I am feeling a sense of relief that this isn't one of those high-speed pursuits. I've brought that up before, but and as I say that now, we're seeing speeds pick up just ever so slightly here. But there have been certainly red lights blown, pedestrians, you know, waiting sort of in crosswalks, thank goodness. But CHP just sort of taking their time on the back end. And how do you, and now I think this is the school you just referenced, Kevin. How do you think that, what is the best strategy for law enforcement here?
It looks like they're just kind of waiting this one out. You know, speeds, they're calling out speeds relatively about 20 to 25 miles an hour. They haven't tried to do a pit maneuver where they could at these speeds, but like we talked about before, it is kind of a larger vehicle. But at the same time, they're just kind of going to follow this, still going only about 25 miles an hour here. We're coming up on Highway 1, the PCH. You can see some traffic here. The last intersection, he did kind of try to weave around some of that, but now he's completely blocked in here, so he's sitting behind the traffic. Now it looks like going around, kind of going to try to go around the right side here and make his way through. And we'll see which way he goes, either north or south, try to cut around here. And it looks like we're going to we're going to go through it. We're going to go through here, and that's going to take us down towards the beach. This road ends here up ahead, kind of gets very small. This is going to be Gould Avenue here as we make our way, continuing westbound, west of PCH, gets into smaller, much more residential areas. And these streets here within the Redondo Beach, kind of the edge of Manhattan Beach area here, are very tight and narrow.
Okay, well, that means things could get even more precarious. You know, looking at the white Ford van, as we're told that this is, you know, no windows on the sides here. It's hard to obviously get a look of what's going on inside. We haven't seen any tight shots of the driver. We don't know if it's a male driver, female driver at this point. They also don't know how many people are inside. They always assume the worst. They always assume, as mentioned, that they're armed. They always assume that there's more than one person inside. As far as we know, it's just the pursuit driver. Now you mentioned there's residential streets, and here's one of those. You're seeing these nice homes on the side. Kevin, so this is, you said we just passed PCH, so where does this take us? This frontage road here?
Yeah, this is a road called Ardmore Road. It kind of runs down one of the original before Pacific Coast Highway in the old days. So this is a very small one-way street as it makes its way south, deeper kind of into the Redondo Beach area here. But still speeds only about 25 miles an hour, but very narrow, very residential at this time of day. Like I said, school is not in session, so there aren't a lot of there aren't kids around, but there definitely would be a lot of people that would be out, probably headed to the beach at this point too, either going or coming back from the beach. And so this road kind of crosses and parallels the beach. So there's a lot of beach access that will be coming and going back and forth across this little road here as it makes its way south into the Hermosa Beach, kind of more of the Hermosa Beach area.
Yeah, and you can see that nice bike path and walking path on the side, a jogger going by right now as this pursuit is headed in the other direction toward Hermosa Beach. You know, these things can last for so long. We've seen that before, Kevin. So, I mean, just the patience of CHP. And, you know, does the size of the van really inhibit them from doing a pit maneuver?
Well, it's definitely coming into consideration for them as far as the tip factor, losing possibly if he tries to accelerate and lose control and completely, and especially on streets of this narrow. We haven't, luckily, like you said, we haven't seen a lot of pedestrians on the road here, but you can see some people on the balconies watching it go by here. But continuing to move southbound here, kind of stopping, looking for the lights. Okay, just making a change here, and this is going to take us, looks like it's going to be on 14th Street, and it's going to take us back up to Pacific Coast Highway, and we'll see if he continues on with that or makes a turn and goes one way or another on PCH.
Okay, well, that's PCH right here, right? So we're going to see what happens?
Yeah, this is PCH, so it looks like he's hanging for the right-hand lane, so it's going to take him southbound on PCH here. Once again, a lot of traffic is starting to build up on PCH this afternoon. You can see all 3 lanes there in the opposite direction are filled up, but they're still kind of hanging back a car length and a half or so, not making an attempt to do any kind of pit maneuver at this point. They're still just following him. So there may be some more information that
Really slowing
CHP
down
may
here,
know about.
Kevin. Oh, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm seeing the crosswalk. They're at a light, but stopping literally, I think, for the young kid on the bike there, which,
Yeah,
good,
he's been kind of slowing down through these intersections, at least to take a look and not really run through the intersection. Like you said, they have that boy on the bike right there. He's been kind of tiptoeing through the intersections, not to get into a lot of cross traffic. Although now he's kind of weaving in between some of that traffic that's pulling over for the CHP with their lights and sirens, but has been kind of slowing down in those kind of precarious areas where there have been pedestrians in there. So, and it sounds like I just heard on the edge of the scanner they have authorized for a pit. So we'll see if they're going to go for it and do it.
Okay.
They have. I just heard it over the radios on the scanner that they did put that out there if they have the opportunity to do it. But we'll see. It's up to that officer that's right behind, as well as the sergeant or commander on scene to make sure that everything is clear, that they can do that. But at these conditions, it's kind of they're kind of creeping up a little bit closer, but he keeps stopping at the stoplights here. And
Look, here we go. Here's the other one who's pulling up right beside him here. So looks like in a standoff mode. I know, though, don't get me wrong, I know that that's probably just a red light, and the suspect is just deciding to stop at the red light. There we go. So now we'll see if that pit maneuver happens, because the speeds are absolutely within range. We know that a pit maneuver is ideal with speeds under 35 miles per hour, and obviously we're well below that threshold. Of course, law enforcement has to take into consideration the environment in terms of public safety and other drivers. This I could see as a little scary to do that, given how tight-knit the PCH is here. We're seeing the Hermosa Saloon right there, Domino's right on the corner, as we come up to another red light where this driver is at least, making sure there aren't any pedestrians and going through again. So, and to your point, Kevin, it looks like CHP is getting a little closer.
They are getting a little closer here, and also, because the streets are so kind of a little bit smaller and tight here, he's staying in a position that's in the middle there. If they were to do a pit maneuver, the vehicle could easily jump the curb and go right through one of the front of a storefront here or something like that, because they are so close to it. So maybe if they have the best opportunity is if he makes a turn. Those are usually the best opportunities. At this point, if they pitted him at this point, he would end up on the sidewalk. The vehicle would just push itself and hop up on the sidewalk very easily. So they're looking for that right spot, least amount of traffic, least amount of damage that would be caused by a pit maneuver. So southbound here, we're passing through Anita Street, and we're really into the Redondo Beach area here. Actually, you know what? He's veering off here, and he's taking Catalina, which is going to take him into the Redondo Beach and the harbor area, down into the
really
King
busy
Harbor
down there.
area.
I mean, not necessarily any busier than Hermosa Beach. Maybe I'm a little bit more familiar with the Redondo Beach area and Catalina Boulevard, et cetera. So we'll be seeing the harbor not soon enough, is what I'm trying to say. So.
Yeah, it's coming up here as we kind of continue to move here down Catalina. We're going to be you've got the harbor on the right-hand side, and eventually the Redondo Pier will come up, and this street will dead end down there. So there'll be some options that he's going to have to make once the street will dead end just past the pier. So we'll have to see if CHP sees an opportunity where they can push it off and just kind of make the car stop and bring it off into a good place where they can pull off that pit maneuver if that's what they want to do. But you can see them still very slowly moving here, about 25 miles an hour.
Yep, and this is the closest that we've seen thus far. I mean, you just got to look at the eye, the hand on the steering wheel. We always pay attention to demeanor, and it doesn't look like this person inside is necessarily the body language isn't as erratic as we've seen before. Just sort of like the driving, pretty calm. And I think people are getting word about the pursuit because as we're just seeing some pedestrians or civilians come out and have their phones out and recording this. So again, if you know anybody in this area, please let them know because these things can always just take a very, very dangerous turn. And again, law enforcement always assumes the worst, that whomever is behind the wheel is armed. There's more than one person perhaps inside. We don't know, especially a van this side. They could fit quite a few people inside. Kevin, do we know anything about the suspect or, potentially if there are more passengers inside?
No, we don't. We just heard that it was possibly a stolen van. Okay, looks like we're going to make a turn here. That's going to take us one more street to the south. It's going to take us down to Harbor Drive here and put us right up against all of the restaurants on the restaurant row here in Redondo Beach. Looks like he's looking for a left-hand turn here on Harbor Drive. And like I said, that street is going to take us right into like the pier parking area. So he's making that left-hand turn going south now on Harbor Drive.
Oh, you can see a car show too. You can see a nice, old vehicles.
Yeah,
there's
a lot going on, and there's a lot of people in this area. A lot of pedestrian traffic is usually on those sidewalks, and you can see the long side just to the right of the van there in the pursuit is the bike path.
Yep. It's usually a very popular bike path on a Friday afternoon, no less. It's a beautiful day out there in Redondo Beach and along the coast, most certainly. And it's heading into the weekend, so a lot of people will be out and about. There are plenty of people out right now, and obviously this is quite the spectacle when you see a slow-moving white van with, I haven't counted them, but several CHP officers trailing behind. And this right here, Kevin, this is a really busy part of town, and
it looks like he's going to loop through. So he did. So there was the driveway for the Redondo Beach Pier. He just passed. Now he's coming back on Catalina, and that's going to put him all the way back up onto PCH once again. So we'll have to see what direction. What direction he's going to take there. It's pretty much going to be a right hand only because there's an island that's blocking it. Looks like up ahead too. You can see some Redondo Beach police.
Yep. They're coordinating with Redondo.
Redondo Beach Police is putting up there, and you can't see it behind the building. There may have been a spike strip there. I think I heard that, to say that there was a spike strip that was laid out at that loop that he came, and you couldn't see it behind the building there, but I heard them on the radio say, watch out for the spike strip. So it looks like they may have gotten, we'll see if the tires start going down here, but that was a possibility that it definitely did hit a spike strip that Redondo Beach may have laid out there. So we're continuing southbound on PCH here, and we're going to be coming up on the Village Drive. We'll keep an eye on those tires to see if any of them start going down.
Okay, very good. Kevin, I want to let you and our viewers know that our Christine Devine is here on set now and is going to take over the coverage. And Christine, you've been following along here. So here we are in very busy Redondo Beach.
Happy Friday. Yet another pursuit here in Southern California. Marla, thank you for the coverage here. Kevin Takumi there with the play-by-play. Kevin, you've seen so many of these pursuits. This really is a slow speed pursuit.
Yeah, this one's been slow most of the way here. It was going kind of normal speeds on the freeway before I got off in the Torrance area, off of the 405 freeway at around Crenshaw. And looks like there's some other officers that were saying, yeah, he's just going around another spike strip. Looks like they dropped off there. Wow. And it looks like you can see the front right tire looks like it's starting to go down as well.
Yeah.
So they were successful with that spike strip that was dropped off at Cal Harbor and Catalina. So that right front, he may have been able to avoid that one that they had laid out right there, but the right front looks like it's going down. I'm trying to see if the rears are going down, but you see Redondo Beach has really kind of gotten out and deployed in this area here. We're continuing southbound on Catalina. We just passed Pearl Street. So we're going to kind of make our way down. We are past the pier at this point, so we'll have to kind of see where he goes here. It looks like he's going to turning in right now, and then so this is going to put us on Esplanade.
Esplanade, very, very popular area, as you and Marla were talking about. Redondo Beach on a summer day, heading into the weekend. Almost surprising there aren't more pedestrians out or people out, as it's kind of a nice day there by the beach. Thank goodness, though, this is a slow speed pursuit in case there are pedestrians or people walking their pets, kids out and about, because we're not in school yet in some areas. Lots of people there. You know, if I were them too and I saw all these police cars, I would back away as well. He's bailing.
Like he's coming to a stop here, and he's running. He's bailing out, and he's running towards the beach.
He's
running
down
for the beach now. You've got several officers, and it's like he tripped and fell down there, and they're very quick to get in on him before he got to the beach.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if he tripped or he saw all that police presence and said, you know what, I'm done. Let's not make this any worse for myself. This was a stolen vehicle ending here in the South Bay, a typical Friday where you have yet another pursuit. They're checking right now to make sure there's nobody else inside that van. Kevin, the good news here, nobody hurt. CHP officers going home to their families. The suspect here under arrest. And this is the way you want things to end. They put that spike strip out, like you said. Looks like that tire kind of went low, and the suspect was realizing this was coming to an end sooner than later. As you said, look at the woman there, just leisurely walking by. Yeah, maybe get out of the way there. Maybe let them do their business. Maybe not be in this area right now. All right, so Kevin, again, this is how you want these to end. Nobody hurt.
Nobody hurt, no collisions throughout this entire pursuit that we heard of. And they were successful with those spikes to kind of just to disable the vehicle. The suspect knew it and got out and ran. This ended right near Veterans Park here in Redondo Beach, so right in the parking area. And as the tires were all starting to go down, he realized it and tried to make a run for the beach, but they were very quick to catch up to him. It looked like he might have tripped and fell, or you're right, he might have just gone ahead and gave up there with 3 officers coming down on him. But you can see also Redondo Beach PD, they're assisting with those spike strips, getting in front of that vehicle and being able to disable it.
Yeah, you really have to wonder the mindset of this driver, Kevin. A slow speed pursuit in a big vehicle like that with tons of police on your tail. You have to wonder where this person thought they were going and how they thought they were going to get away. But then perhaps that tells you something about their mindset, and you have to wonder if this person has had jail time before, perhaps just a joyride until they, it comes to an end here. Kevin, CHP really doing a pretty good job here in getting this to come to an end. And Redondo Beach. Yeah,
they were really good at just following behind it and just staying with it and keeping things calm with this driver and just waiting it out until he decided to bring it to an end.
And can you tell us, Kevin, because I jumped on this a little after your coverage with Marla, where did this start? Do we have any insight at all as to how this vehicle was stolen and from whom?
We don't know the exact location of where the stolen, where it was reported stolen out of, but CHP first picked it up southbound on the 110 freeway, and it came down from there in kind of near the Coliseum area, and then went down to the Torrance area. He finally got off of the 405, and then kind of from there it took surface streets all the way to the beach area, zigzagging like we've seen here, and he finally ended up in the Redondo Beach area, just over near the park, Veterans Park area, in the parking lot. We're just off. Those stairs lead down to the park, and down to the beach. So luckily they were able to get this without incident, like you said.
Yeah.
Nobody hurt throughout this entire pursuit.
Well, he covered some territory there. All right, Kevin Takumi, thanks so much for your insight there on the coverage and the navigation of the streets there. Look how busy it is there in Redondo Beach. You see more of the people now enjoying this Friday as we head into the weekend. That's going to wrap up our coverage right here of the latest pursuit in SoCal. More news right here on Fox 11 coming up at 5 p.m. We'll see you then with a recap.